I don't know about you guys, but today has been BANANAS. Bananas. Um, like, I just decided to just do an episode based on this because it's just like, has anybody ever had one of those days where it's just like, you think that you're going to have a great day, and then one thing happens, which snowballs into another thing, which snowballs into another thing. And then next thing you know, just like a good chunk of your day is gone. That's kind of what happened to me this morning. And so I guess I'll just name this this episode. This is the episode where Daisy did not have electricity. Everything's good and straight now, but this happened, let's just say this happened around, I want to say between like 8 o'clock-ish Eastern time. And this is like, it happened directly right after I dropped my daughter off, like at school. Like I came home, I made a smoothie for breakfast, and I'm just sitting there watching TV, and I told myself, I was like, okay, in the next few minutes, I'm going to get up, I'm going to put on like my workout clothes, and I'm going to like try to like just do my usual morning bike run. I cycle in the morning. I was like, all right, let me get changed so I can do my do my spin situation for like an hour. I have like a slim cycle, like a bicycle bike. And I try to like just do it for like about an hour and a half if I'm like really trying to push myself. Either way, literally, I stand up and all of a sudden I hear boom. And I'm thinking, holy shit. I'm thinking somebody hit the house, but then the house didn't shake. And then I'm like, holy crap, somebody finally backed into my driveway and hit my car. All right, so let me back up a little bit. All right, to anybody that knows me but doesn't exactly know like the whole situation about where I live. So I live in a nice neighborhood. It's pretty chill. Everybody keeps to themselves, and I have a decent house. Like it looks small on the outside, but it's a decent 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom, unfortunately. But it's a cute house. Half an acre of land. Like it's a really cute house, and it's in a nice neighborhood. Like all my neighbors we all keep to ourselves. Like my neighbors next to me, they're like a nice older couple. All right, yada yada. Only downfall to my neighborhood is one, there's a railroad track behind my house that we were told at the time that the train only goes by a couple of days a week. Of course, that's bullshit because it goes by every day. However, like we've been here for like a couple of years now, and like even though you still hear it, like after a while you kind of just it becomes part of like background noise, so it's not as bad. Although now we can't get like a dog, because I feel like if we do get a dog, the noise itself is just going to bother any kind of dog we get. Anyways, I digress. Second issue with the house, like the second issue about where I live, the only like complaint that I have is because of the railroad track, there's a 10-foot bridge that's connected to it. And the 10-foot bridge sits directly next to my house. Like it's my house and another house across the street, another house. Basically, we're literally like our property is next to this 10-foot bridge. Now, with bridges, especially low bridges like that, there are signs that are posted that's supposed to make any driver or anybody aware that there's a bridge coming up ahead. I've counted. There's at least 6 signs on my block up until you get to the bridge to let you know, hey, there's a low-hanging bridge. There's also a street that is maybe like halfway that you could turn down so you can avoid the bridge that will take you back to 146, where right where I live. It'll take you right back to the other road that you need to go to if you're trying to still go in that direction. And there's a sign there that lets you know low hanging bridge, detour here. However, there are, and I'm trying not to like curse, but fuck it, there are dumbasses that will repeatedly not see the sign, and one will back into my yard. And there's been several times where people have ruined our grass, ruined the nice bush that we had, or have knocked over our mailbox because, again, they just think, okay, maybe I'll just back up instead of, I don't know, using the neighbor's yard who has a better driveway than we do. Or, I don't know, read the fucking sign and not go to the bridge and get stuck. So, naturally, that's what the boom was. So, of course, I run to the door, like my front door, and I see like a fucking 18-wheeler backing out of my driveway. Like, he's stuck in the middle of the road. So basically, his trailer's in the middle of the road, blocking traffic on both sides. He's halfway out of my driveway. And then I look and I see his back end hit the telephone pole, or the power pole. Or I guess that's, the pole with like, power lines and shit. Hit that one, leaned it further back, and kind of tapped like my neighbor's mailbox. So thankfully he didn't hit my mailbox. However, I'm sitting there thinking, the fuck is this guy doing? And I kind of wish I like should have went outside, because I tried to take a picture of the guy's license plate from my freaking from my front window, and unfortunately I didn't, because like by the time I was able to get like my camera set up and try to get like a killer picture, I couldn't focus, and the guy kind of like sped off because he knew he was wrong. Like, he knew he hit something and he fucked up. So by the time I was able to try to get like a clear picture, it was too late. He was already gone. And from what I saw, there was no logos in the truck, so I couldn't even maybe look into the guy's company that he worked for. So I figured he was an independent driver or whatever. And as soon as he left, I noticed the power line. I noticed there was a power line dangling dangerously low, in the middle of the road, and then towards my house. And it was really low. Cars were able to drive underneath it, but I feel like if it was another truck, or a moving truck, or anything higher than I guess, I don't know, anything really high up, was definitely gonna rip it down. So I immediately make phone calls to the power company, National Grid, and I filed a report, and then I called the cable company, who I get an automated thing that says they're aware of the problem and they'll send somebody out. Mind you, nobody ever came out. And then I tell the hubby the situation, so he starts making phone calls, try to figure out what to do. And so I patiently wait, and somebody from National Grid does come. And what's weird about the whole situation is that when the guy came, he I explained the situation to him, and he seemed kind of confused. He looked at the cord that was dangling down, and he immediately said, "Oh, well, that's the cable cord, so there's nothing I can do. You're going to have to call your cable company for that." And I was like, oh, okay, well, I just got off the phone with Spectrum, so I guess I could try to again and see if I can get a hold of a person. And he was like, well, I could check your meter just in case, just to make sure, everything's okay. So I go inside, my power goes out. So mind you, when the truck driver hit the pole, he just knocked out my cable. My power was completely fine. And I only called the electric company just to let them know about the low-hanging power line, and to say, hey, you might want to check the pole, because obviously the guy hit it pretty good and it's leaning hard, more than it was before. So I figured I did the right thing. So the guy comes and he goes to check my meter, and all of a sudden my whole power went out, and I'm like, okay, that's not good. But then I'm thinking, okay, probably went out because he had to he's checking the meter, so he probably had to turn everything off. So then a good 5 minutes go by, and then I see him walking up with my meter in his hand, and I'm like, uh-uh. So I go outside, meet him outside, and he basically says, so I had to take your meter out, and we walk around the house, and basically I see this open hole. And he says, yeah, I looked in, and there's a couple of wires loose. And so I have to take the meter out because I don't want your meter to keep running, because if it keeps running, it could cause a surge and we could cause an electrical fire, and we don't want that. And I'm sitting there okay, so are you going to replace that? Because I was so one, I don't have power. And two, are you going to replace that? And he goes, well, unfortunately, you have to call an electrician. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, why do I need to call an electrician? This should be something you're able to fix, because, it's the box. And he says, well, no, it's not within my pay grade. I'm not supposed to do stuff like this. He says, but I'll send somebody out to inspect the pole across the street. But yeah, definitely get a hold of an electrician. And I go inside to grab my phone to call my husband, or call my husband, or just to text him to let him know the situation. And as I'm talking to him, The guy doesn't tell me anything else and he just takes off. So me and my husband were panicking. Like, we're trying to get a hold of an electrician, and then like my husband was told that we need to like call the police to file an insurance, like for their insurance claim. And I'm sitting there going, well, I don't think we need to file a claim because technically nothing on our property was damaged. So, but I was told to call the police anyway. I called the police and I explained the situation. The lady on the phone sounded confused as to why I was calling them. But she was like sympathetic. So she said, I'll send somebody out anyway. And so then out of the blue, like I'm sitting here waiting. I'm trying to like get a hold of like an electrician. Luckily my husband got a hold of somebody. And the guy said he was going to take take 30 minutes because he was still working on, I guess, another job nearby. So while I'm waiting for that guy to show up, all of a sudden I see another National Grid truck like show up, and they look across the street, I guess assess all the damage, and then they assess the damage, like, well, they see if there's any damage on my end, and then there goes, so, and I explained to them, like, it was like two other guys, and I explained to them the whole situation, and as soon as I explained the situation, the guy looked so utterly confused as soon as I got to the part about the meter. He goes, wait a minute, so the tech took your meter out? And I go, yeah. He said there was like a couple of like, I guess, wires loose or whatever, because I guess like when the truck driver hit the pole and knocked like something important, like 3 or 4 inches, which knocked my shit loose, I guess. And the guy goes, well, yeah, but still the guy, like the tech should have been able to replace it because it's inside the box. And I'm sitting there thinking, that's exactly what me and my husband were thinking. So then like, luckily, this new tech, he looked at everything, he talked with his partner, and he says, yeah, we'll be able to fix everything. No problem. We'll even pull up your cable cord for you. And I go, oh my God, thanks. Is this going to cost me anything? And the guy goes, you know, he makes a joke like $1 million. And I told him he was shit out of luck because obviously by my house, I'm not a million, you know, we're fucking broke. So he starts laughing, I start laughing, and he told me not to worry about it. And he was just like, utterly confused as to why the guy took off of my like meter. And I guess while the other tech he was working with was fixing everything, the guy I talked to, the newer guy, was on the phone trying to like investigate what happened with the meter and why the guy take off with it. And I guess like, I don't know if I got the other tech in trouble or what, but you know, it was nice to actually know that like National Grid was willing to make up for like, I guess their screw up in the beginning, and they kind of like took care of everything. And long story short, you know, while they're I guess in the middle of them fixing everything, the cop I called earlier rolls up. Actually, it's funny because when National Grid first showed up, like I guess the second time, I saw the cop arrive, and then there was some idiot down like in my neighborhood speeding down my neighborhood. It's only 30 down my street, but this guy had to be going at least like 45 or 50. And as soon as we saw him fly, like I saw the cop approaching, but as soon as he like was getting close to my house, I see his lights pop on and he was gone to go after the other guy. And I'm like, oh, I guess I'm gonna have to wait. And I totally forgot he was coming, because then in the middle of those guys showing up, the electrician that my husband got a hold of showed up. And to tell him, hey, you know, we don't need you after all. I felt bad, offered the guy gas money. Electrician was like, oh no. And he explained that he was nearby anyway. And he seemed really nice. And he actually knew the guys that were working on my house, like trying to fix my problem now. And he was like, you're in good hands. And so he took off. And then like right after he took off, maybe like a minute or two later, the cops showed back up. And I feel like an a-hole because I forgot to put my face mask back on. But luckily the cop was super nice about it. And like he had a face mask on, and like I stood like, you know, 6 feet away from him, explained the situation, told him everything again. And, you know, he looked around at the, like, you know, my front yard, and he goes, well, did the guy hit your car or anything? I go, no. And he explains to me, he was like, well, you don't need to file a report, because he's like, well, who told you to call the police to file a report? I'm like, well, technically my husband told me, and National Grid or whoever he talked to told him. He was like, well, you guys can't really even file an insurance claim because technically the damage that the truck driver did was not on your property. So, and I explained to him how I wasn't able to get a license plate or anything. And luckily the cop was super nice and super down to earth, and like, he knew that this is like the whole people turning around in your yard, or like like the whole bridge problem has been like a persistent problem, unfortunately. And like I think he's been familiar that we probably contacted like the police before about it, because just earlier in the year we had some dummy hit our mailbox again, and luckily like we were able to like file a report on that. And then like just all the time, like the cop even said to me, don't be afraid to call us, because this is an ongoing issue and it's an issue that can be totally prevented. And like we explained that we're gonna try to like fix it, but luckily the cop was nice, and like I felt bad that I like made him come out. He was super like apologetic. He was like, nope, it's fine, I'm literally like, this is my beat anyway. So I was like 5 minutes away, and he was super like sympathetic, and luckily like everything straightened itself out. But bro, this has been a super most stressful morning. So like after the cop left, like maybe another 10 minutes goes past, and like I'm like texting back and forth with my husband, texting back and forth with my best friend who's in nursing school, who I was hoping to talk to on the phone, but I forgot she had class today. So I'm texting her the whole situation. So finally at finally around noonish, like my power and my electricity was back on, and like luckily we didn't have to pay anything out of pocket. And just overall, it's just been a clusterfuck of a morning. And I could just only sit back and laugh, because I'm sitting there going, how did all this happen within a couple of hours? And this is like the only thing I can think of. It's just like I saw a meme actually this morning that pretty much summed up like everything I was going through. And it was like a picture of Bailey Sarian, who was like, I'm absolutely like I'm a huge fan of hers. Like if you like have a YouTube, or like you could probably see her on Instagram, you should check her out. She does like mystery murder makeup Mondays, and she does like amazing like makeup tutorials. But anyways, like a friend of mine back in Virginia posted like a meme of hers. So it's 2 pictures of Bailey Sarian, and it basically says, the Lord is testing me. And then the second meme says, but I didn't study. And I'm just sitting there thinking, that just sums up my day. So I had to repost it. And that's the only way I could describe like my whole morning. Luckily, hopefully, like the rest of my day isn't crappy. And they say when you fall on your face, the only thing you do is get back up. So hopefully I'm just gonna get back up, dust myself off, try to enjoy this last bit of time by myself before I have to go get my little one. And I think me and her, I'm going to take her out to lunch. Like, I feel this calls for some Starbucks this morning. Like, I need some caffeine to like calm my nerves. And, so that's pretty much it. I just felt like I just needed to like vent and get it off my chest. And just like, I find it to be like a hilarious story. And, so as far as the podcast, I'm going to have hopefully I'll have a better episode, uploaded on Friday. I'm going to try to upload this one tomorrow. Don't forget, you guys can contact me at awkwardblerdgirlpodcast@gmail.com, or I think it's awkwardblerdpodcast@gmail.com. Sorry. And just don't forget though, like you can hit me up on Instagram, awkwardblerdgirl. Look for me on Facebook, Awkward Blerd Girl Podcast. And that's pretty much it. Hopefully the next topic is not going to be like me bitching and moaning again. It's going to be a little more relaxed. I'm actually going to just be talking. It's going to probably just be have a random feeling like this as well. But it's just going to be me talking about like how I've been dealing with the quarantine a little bit. But to anybody that's listening, hopefully you guys have had a much better day than I have. Make decent choices. Kindness is gangster. And for F's sakes, wear a mask. And talk to you guys soon.